Happy National Dog Biscuit Day, everyone. I realize I'm a day late actually with this Facebook Live. I apologize. Yesterday I was lucky enough to go down to the Georgia State Capitol and meet some wonderful animal people. We met with the governor. We talked with animal lobbyists who are trying to put the kibosh on a bill that would basically allow for a puppy mill situation around these parts. So hopefully all is going good, but it was a great day to meet people. I got to tell a lot of the rescues that didn't know about the Gray Muzzle organization, you know, my soft spot, my pride and joy, and to tell them to apply for grants. So this is a great time actually to put this out there to any of you that volunteer at rescue organizations as well, that the Gray Muzzle organization, whose mission is to make sure no senior dog or any dog obviously ever dies homeless and alone, and we try to enhance their life while they're on this planet with us by providing funding to 501c3 organizations specifically for senior dogs, whether it be for dental work or to, one of the things I'm learning is really important out here in the Southeast is heartworm treatment and prevention. Whether it might be surgery for other types of tumors, where it might be senior programs to help them get adopted or just care for them while they're at a shelter or in a foster before they get that forever home. And also sometimes the grants help for retention. People with a senior dog may be facing health issues for that pet and may not be able to afford the care. And through the grants we give out, hopefully vouchers can be given, the dogs can get the care they need, and they can stay with their families for their remaining golden years. So again, if any of you are with a rescue organization that cares for senior dogs, it doesn't have to be entirely seniors. If you just have seniors in your population, go to graymuzzle.org. and you'll see that the grant cycle opened up on February 16th and goes through March 16th, and there's a very clear webinar that you can take that tells you how to apply for the grant, and hopefully it'll help you to help the animals. But we are here today for National Dog Biscuit Day. Yay! Haiku's excited. He's in the kitchen with me, but he's a little bit out of camera range, and I do apologize, a little backlit today. It's morning, the sun's coming in the window back there, and I just had to arrange everything so that you'll be able to see what we're doing and talking about. But whether you're watching live or whether you're catching this in replay, I hope you'll go ahead and write down in the comment section your pet's favorite dog biscuit flavors. Just write them down, whether if they're meaty flavors or vegetable-y flavors or things like peanut butter or cinnamon or something really off the wall. I'd love to know what their favorite flavors are. But I also want to talk to you about dog biscuits in general, and that the earlier versions, the first versions of dog biscuits, were just so different from what we feed our pets today. Treats actually consisted of stale, moldy bread, rotten leftovers, and rock-hard biscuits made out of grain. But an American named James Spratt changed all of that when he went to visit England one day and just saw the population of starving dogs scavenging for food and scraps. And he developed a cake-like biscuit that was made out of meat, grains, and vegetables. He called it the meat fibrine dog cake. Build on that a little bit, and in 1908, the F.H. Bennett Company, or the F.H. Bennett Biscuit Company, I should say, in New York, started developing these hard-baked, bone-shaped cookies that were made of minerals, cow's milk, meat, and different types of products. We know them today as the milk bone, and many dogs love and enjoy them. As the Pet Safety Crusader, I'm just going to tell you to always read the ingredients in your pet food of all types, anything that goes into your pet's body. A lot of us do wonderful, amazing things with feeding our pets, but then we give them a lot of junk for treats. I'm not saying milk bones are junk, but I'm just kind of getting to all of this there. A few years back, there was a video that went viral, and it really bashed the milk bone biscuits, saying that they were causing cancer in, I think, 2 out of 3 dogs. Well, a lot of research has been done, and that isn't true. You know, nothing you buy in a box that can sit on a shelf or in a warehouse for a year or more at a time, is for whether it's for us or our dogs or cats, you know, probably isn't the best food. But it's, you know, it's been deemed by the FDA not to be a carcinogen. The products or ingredients in question are BHA and BHT, and generally, as the Pet Safety Crusader, I tell you to stay away from those items in your pet food of any type, but the FDA contests that they're not carcinogens. Some of those are even in our human mayonnaise and different products we use. So, you know, moderation is the key always, but you know, that's maybe one of the reasons why you want to go to a different type of dog biscuit for your pet, or maybe even make it your own. But what I will say about BHA and BHT and any other kind of preservative in food is basically what the FDA says is it outweighs the risks of your pet consuming something that has bacteria or mold in it, because that can be even more harmful. So you want things to be preserved, but, you know, it's better if we can use more natural preservatives, or just like we try to do, eat fresher foods and eat them within the time of their expiration. Some great things for treats for your pets are raw vegetables, broccoli and carrots, for instance, apples. My dogs, actually several generations ago, got really into eating carrots and apples when in the lot next door to us in our California home, they had sheep that would come every spring to do the brush clearance. And we would feed the sheep carrots and apples. And of course, I think Sushi was my first dog at the time that got to experience that. She said, you know, if the sheep, who we named Maggie, was getting these fun treats, she wanted them too. So the successive generations of our dogs too have enjoyed carrots and apples. They're really good. They can clean the teeth by scraping, you know, the residue off the gums. They offer many important vitamins, beta-carotene for one, which helps with a dog's acute night vision, vitamin A, which keeps their coats healthy and shiny, alpha-carotene and lutein, which both may, you know, lower the risks of certain types of heart disease. And then also the antioxidants that carrots provide, just like blueberries and some other, you know, wonderful fruits from the ground. Antioxidants, what they do is they kind of give new life and health to the cells in our body. Many of you ladies, and maybe gentlemen too, may buy night creams in particular for your skin because the antioxidants keep the cells fresh and young. So, you know, carrots can be very beneficial. However, dogs and cats have much shorter intestinal tracts than us humans do. Food actually stays in their stomach longer and then more quickly goes through the intestines. So what that means is it doesn't have time to break down the cellulose, the plant fiber. So although giving your dog a carrot can be a great thing for massaging the gums and cleaning the teeth, he's not going to get as many nutrients out of it. He won't be able to extract it as well as if you actually chop the carrot very fine, puree it, or lightly steam it. Anything you can do to really break down that cellulose, that plant fiber, will help him extract it better. Haiku gets blueberries every morning along with yogurt in his kibble, and I've noticed if I don't actually break the blueberry, when I'm picking up on our walks, the blueberries are actually pretty much whole because he swallows them whole. So unless you have a dog who's a real good chewer, it's a really good idea to, you know, break things up, puree them, or lightly steam them, just so that they can extract the nutrients from it. With that said, oh, I want to mention one other thing about carrots. This was another thing that, you know, was going around the internet, and you guys remember Snopes. Snopes can be your friend to separate fact from fiction sometimes. And there was a lot of talk at one point about baby carrots. Those little, sometimes they're called cocktail carrots. And sometimes there are actually baby carrots. They're grown small and they're harvested that way. But most of the times the ones you see, the cocktail carrots in the store, are actually, rather than being baby carrots, they're what are referred to as baby cut carrots. And what they do with those, they take a regular sized carrot. It's not a malformed or a diseased carrot or anything like that. It's just a larger carrot, and machines cut it. So what it does is it scrapes off the skin and it cuts it into those uniform little sizes. They then go into a chlorine bath, and then they're washed off with potable water. A lot of us may not like the idea of them going into a chlorine bath. Again, that's to kill germs and prevent bacterial growth, especially because these carrots now no longer have that skin. They are washed off, so they are deemed safe, but I'm just, giving you that information for you to take it however you want to process it for your pets and for yourself as well, because I know they're very convenient oftentimes to use those, but not, deemed cancerous or risky for any of us, but just the fact that they've gone into a chlorine bath may bother some people. If they do develop a white film on them once they're in the refrigerator, a lot of people think that's the chlorine coming to the surface. Not. What it actually is, it's the process of dehydration on the cut surface and the white forms. If you actually grow carrots and you cut one in half from your garden and put it in the refrigerator, after it's in there a little bit of time and it starts to dry out, you'll get that white coming to the surface as well. So don't think that necessarily means chlorine. It's really the dehydration process, but I just did want to share that with you about it. So it's National Dog Biscuit Day. We're going to make some dog biscuits, and some of Haiku's favorites, well, they're absolutely our peanut butter, but we're not going to do peanut butter today. I wanted to do something a little healthier. We're doing carrot apple. So I've shredded up a bunch of carrot here, and it's going in the bowl. And I cooked up an apple. You can see I cored it already, and I cooked it up with just a little water and cinnamon, but I did leave the skin on. So I'm now mashing it. You can use applesauce if you don't want to go to this time, to cook it, or if you just want the carrot to go in raw, what you could actually do is use a grater. But I've discovered since we moved, I didn't bring everything along with me, and I haven't rebought all of my kitchen tools. So I thought I'd just cook up the carrot today, and it just mashes very well, skin and all that retains a lot of the nutrients for your pet. You want to put in a raw scrambled egg, and some people put in brown sugar. I try to stay away from the sugar, but I do want to sweeten it up a little bit for Haiku, so there's nothing like molasses. And if you keep it in the refrigerator like I do, it gets, a little harder, but I've had it out for a bit, so it runs out very nicely, and that just gives him a little bit of sweetness. So we've got the carrot, the apple that was cooked in cinnamon and water, and the molasses. A little bit of oil. I prefer coconut oil for my pups. You can use vegetable oil or different types of oil, grapeseed oil maybe. Every time you do it, maybe you make it a little different and see if one comes out better than another or if the dog likes it. It's hard with me with Haiku because he likes everything. Probably the only thing he's going to spit out is some raw cauliflower. Then we want to put in flour. A lot of dog biscuit recipes will say to use whole wheat flour. We're finding more and more that many dogs and cats have wheat allergies. So I prefer to use something different. An oatmeal flour, a coconut flour. You can use tapioca flour, but I'd also use something else along with it because that's really sweet and it makes things super crisp, and it's a good idea to have just another flour mixed with it as well. I like using brown rice flour. No particular brand in particular. We just got to the bottom of this bag, but brown rice flour. It's gluten-free and highly digestible. So that goes on in there, and we start mixing this up some more. And then last but not least, what I like to put in is oatmeal. And again, if you don't put it in as the whole flakes, what you can do is put this in your blender or food processor and actually, while it's dry like this, make it into a flour. So that's, a perfect way to make flour if you don't have it. And we mix and mix and mix. You don't generally need to add water at this point if you've cooked the apple, because the apple was really juicy, and I added a little bit of water to it too when I was cooking it. So we have really a nice moist batter. If you want it a little drier, if you want to be fancy and roll it out and use cookie cutters, power to you. I did that one time many, many moons ago, actually before things like dog biscuit cookie cutters were trendy on the market, and actually spent the time with a knife cutting out the biscuit shapes. I think I made myself so crazy at that point. I've kind of deviated from that ever since. But you can do that. But what I tend to like to do is just get it in a small ball, get my hands wet, roll it into a ball, and plop it on the cookie sheet. We'll do a few of these here, but I know you guys have other things to do today, so I'm not going to keep you throughout the whole baking process. But you can see there's nice big chunks of carrot. The apple skin is in there with good vitamins and nutrients. If your dogs don't initially like things like carrots or apples, this is a good way to introduce them to it. And then hopefully over time, it'll become more and more of their favorite thing to enjoy. Haiku's passed out here. I think when he actually starts smelling cookies, he will perk up a bit. But we just make these into balls. And then what I like to do with them after the balls, let me rinse off my hands right here, is to use a fork and flatten them out. Kind of like maybe as kids when we were making peanut butter cookies, we learned to do that. And a good thing to do is just have some ice cold water around to keep wetting the fork. And you're just going to smash it down. I'm going to hold this up for the camera in just a moment to show you. And I've just kind of smashed them down, and they kind of look like a little brown blob mess right now, I realize. But they're going to go into the oven, and we'll finish up the others afterwards. And I'm going to bake them at 350 for about 45 minutes. You can bake them higher heat and for less time, but I really want to make sure the inside is cooked all the way through and that it becomes a hard, crunchy biscuit. Those were kind of big, but Haiku's a big dog, but I generally tend to break them in half when I give them to him. But you can make them much smaller, smaller for kitty cats as well. And for our cat friends, you may, pour a little tuna juice or clam juice into the cookies to make them more inviting for them. So you're only, crippled by your imagination here as far as what you create for your pets, but you feel like you're giving them good, healthy treats, because if you're feeding them good food, we all deviate and go through the drive-through or, stop by the donut shop every now and then. But for the most part, what we put in our body is like the gas we put in the car, and it's going to dictate how we get through our days. So enjoy National Dog Biscuit Day with your pet. Find him a special treat. And by the magic of the internet, we now have a whole plate of cookies here that Haiku is going to be enjoying today. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with eating these yourself. You saw what went into them. They probably aren't as sweet and tasty as something you would enjoy, but ever see a person eat a dog biscuit? They're actually really good. Haiku, you want a cookie? Dogs love them. So I know you love your dog. Enjoy National Dog Biscuit Day. I'm talking with my mouth full. And have an awesome possum weekend. Bye-bye for now.